Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Cleveland, Ohio, and today I have a step card for you. Here's the step card that we're going to be making. I think it's pretty cute. It stands up so that it displays nicely when you give it to someone. Let me show you what we're going to need to make this. What's nice about this step card is there's no cutting of the paper. It's a simple piece that goes over the back of the card face. So it makes it a whole lot easier than how we used to have to make these. Alright, let me show you what we're going to use. I chose to use the Sweet Jar stamp set because this is on the last chance list, and I did classes this week and people had wondered what this was. Was it jelly beans? What could it be? Wafers? So we made this so that they could see what it could be. But again, this is on the last chance list, and I wanted them to see how to use it in case they wanted to purchase it. The paper I'm using is called Splash of Sparkles, and I love this paper. It's very vibrant on this side. It's beautiful paper. I mean, when doesn't Stampin' Up! Have beautiful paper? What I really like is the holographic paper, the silvery like stuff, and there's also gold in here, or champagne, whatever I don't know what this one's called, but that's what I liked on this. And you can see I don't have many pieces left because I've used them in my classes, but that's called Splash of Sparkles. That's an online exclusive. One of the pieces of this card that I think makes a huge difference is the embossing on this front panel. And this is from Stone and Vine. This is a 3D embossing folder. It's in the spring catalog. And the way they are doing this right now, I'm telling you, it is impressive. Very impressive. I have a sample here so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. If you look at this, you can see that the ivy is pronounced. That's the 3D part. But you also can see that there's slight impressions around the ivy, and that's embossed as well. So we have an embossed, like regular embossing and 3D embossing combined, and that makes this 3D embossing really stand out. I think they've done an excellent job with putting those together. It's very, very noticeable. So let me show you what we're going to need for this, and you're not going to need to write any of this down. It'll be in the description below. So don't worry about that. Your card base. This is not our typical card base. It is similar, but not the same. This is 5.5 by 8, and that's why I've underlined the 8. Usually it's 8.5, but we're making it 8. And then you're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 inches, and 5 inches. And this is Pretty in Pink. And what I do when I'm making cards is I choose my designer paper first, then I look at the colors that are in the designer paper, and then I pull the cardstock that I want. And on the packages, here's what I do. I take my 12 by 12 paper and divide it in half. I keep half of it, that's 12 by 12, in a drawer. The other one I take and I cut them into 4 by 6 pieces, and they go in this. So I note that it's a 12 by 12 pack, not one that's 6 by 6. I note that it's an online exclusive, and then I go ahead and I label all of the colors that are in this paper. Where do I get these? From the pack that's 12 by 12. Every 12 by 12 pack of paper that we have will list all of the colors for you. This is very nice to have so that when you're pulling out paper, you can see exactly what you need. What colors of cardstock, what colors of ink will go together. All of the thought has been done for you. You just have to pull what you like out of this. So the other part to the card base is another piece. It's 3 by 6, and you score it at 3/4 of an inch and 1 3/4. You're going to need scraps of paper. This is the cookie jar, and what I did was, this set you can bundle, and it comes with a punch, and the punch has a lid that goes with it. I label mine with my label maker, and again, where does it come from? Now, why do I do this? Because when I have classes and people say, where can I find this? I can tell them it's online or it's in a catalog. It makes it easier for them to find. So I punched out all of the pieces and then we stamped them. But I want to show you something. This card, because this set is a 2-step stamp set, and I'll show you the stamp set again. Here's what I mean. We stamp the jar, and then we're going to stamp this piece. Those are the cookies. We're going to put the cookies in the cookie jar, and then we're going to stamp the chocolate chips on top of those cookies. Over here, I have a lid, so I punch out the lid, and then I can stamp on it or stamp on it and then punch it out. But I want to show you that on this one, I did white paper and I stamped with the lid stamp and then punched it out. But for my classes, because the number of people I have and the amount of time that we have, instead of doing that, I just punched all of my lids out in the pink. So we didn't have to stamp it and punch it out. It was ready to go. So this is a shortcut for you if you have a stamp set like this that has many 2-step stamping stamps and you don't want to go to all that, but you still want it to look nice. And this is a nice workaround for that. You can decide what you want to use for your sentiment. Because these were very small, I chose a white scrap and I chose to do this with a 1-inch circle punch. You could use dies. You don't even have to use a circle. Use whatever you have. Behind that I have a 1 1/4 circle. I'm going to put that behind so I'll be able to find it when I need it. The next piece here is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. This is going to go on the inside of our card and it's going to go sideways. So here's what I do. I'm going to set this down like this so I know this is the direction that I'm going to be stamping it. Sometimes when you get busy or you're talking to people, you pick up your paper and stamp and you realize you've stamped it the wrong way. So this helps me. All right, your first piece of designer paper, and that's going to go back here. It's 2 5/8 by 5. Just going to move it out of the way. You don't need to see all of that. All right, then we have these 2 pieces that we're going to emboss. And like I showed you, I embossed them already, but the yellow one is Lemon Lolly, 2 1/8 by 2 3/4. And then the Shy Shamrock is 2 3/4 by 4. I have 2 more pieces of designer paper. This piece is 7/8 of an inch by 5, and that's going to end up going down here. I'm going to put that with the designer paper. And then I have a very narrow strip that's 5/8 of an inch by 5 1/4. Now, if it's difficult for you to work in eighths, 5/8 is just 1/8 past 4/8, and 4/8 is 1/2. So if you wanted to make this 1/2 by 5 1/4, that makes it easier for you, go ahead and do that. Same with any of the other measurements. You know, bring it back to where it makes it easy for you. All right, I'm going to do my stamping first. So I'm going to line up the pieces that I'm going to need. Again, I'm leaving this sideways so that I know what I'm going to do. The first thing I want to do is I want to put cookies in my cookie jar. For my classes, I cut this out and stamped it ahead of time so that the ladies would not have to do that. There's a lot of pieces, parts to this card. It's not difficult, but it has a lot of pieces, parts, and sometimes they get a little freaked out when they see a lot of pieces, because to them a lot of pieces means it's hard. It's not hard. So we're going to take the cookies and we're going to put them way down here. I'll scoot it up so you can see what I'm doing here. We put the cookies in there. This is going to dry a little bit lighter than it is right now, so not to worry. And now we're going to add the chocolate chips to this. That was Crumb Cake that I used. I'm going to use early espresso now. When you use the chips, when I held this up, it looked like a whale. Here's his tail. And that's how you want to use it when you put it on top of the cookies. You'll see here's a cookie that sticks up. That's exactly where this is going to go. Now, when you do two-step stamping, you do not have to have it perfect. It's not why we make two-step stamping. It can be close and it will look just fine. All right, we have the cookies in there. Now we're going to do our stamping for the front and then the stamping on the inside. And what I like to do is all of the pink first and then the last bit of it. The pink is Pretty in Pink. One of my favorites. I'm glad it came back. This sentiment is actually yeah, it's in two parts. Up here it says sending a little, and then down here it says your way. I didn't want it all on the front, and so what I did was I took this and stamped just the part I wanted to have inked, and that's going to go on this piece, and I'm going to leave the pink behind it so I can see where this white piece ends, and I'm going to stamp. Okay, I'm going to stamp off to make sure I get that. Now I'm going to do a similar thing, and instead of using the top here, I'm going to turn it around and use just the bottom and tap that into the ink. That's going to say your way. You can see in here I'm going to put sweetness in and then your way, and you can put that anywhere you want. In fact, I'm going to move it up just a little bit. Now I'm going to take the word sweetness and it will go above your way. You can make it as close or as far away as you want. Now I'm going to take my hearts, and this set has a set of 2 hearts and a set of 3 hearts. I'm going to use the set of 3 hearts for the inside. And again, you can put them anywhere you want. You can also put them on your envelope. For the 2 hearts, I'm going to use them on this, on the top and on the bottom, but wherever you want to put it, it's your card. You do your style. You do you. So our stamping is finished. Now what we're going to do is just put this all together. You can see this doesn't take very long at all. Once you have that paper cut out, it's very easy. It's very easy to do. So let's get to our card base and we'll do, the scoring is done, so we just have to fold it and use our bone folder. And I use the end that most people don't use. I don't know why, but this is how I learned to use a bone folder, where I hold the bigger end of it instead of this smaller end. There's more of it to push down on the areas that have been scored, so these fold lines get pushed down. And you can see that what I'm doing is just pushing on these, and then what I'll do is fold them so they'll be the way that I want them. Okay, so here's our card base, and what we want to do is make this so it's like a ledge. So the very end one will fold down, and then the next one is going to fold back like you were fan folding. So I'm going to take this now and push down with my bone folder so that it will sit the correct way. So if you notice now, you can see we have a little shelf. All right. When I do classes, I tell people that I find it easier to lay things flat to work on them. So I'm going to take my designer paper and I'm going to add my adhesive to it, and then this is flat, so I'm just going to hold opposite corners, hover over the area I want, and put this down. All right, I'm looking at these two pieces, and I know I want the larger, the wider one for here. You could try that one, but that looks a little too narrow to be on this spot. You can also decide, do you want it to match, or do you want it to go opposite of what you have there? I think most everybody in my class likes to match, so that's what they did. So on the very bottom here, we're going to have a small border. All right, so this will fold up like this, kind of cool. Let's take a look at this piece now. We'll do the outside first. This has 2 score marks, and we're going to take the first one and fold it down. We're going to take the second one and fold it down. They both will end up the same way. All right, so you're going to end up with something like that, and it's going to be hinged and go over your card base. So this will be the front. So again, I'm going to flatten this out, and I'm going to add my Shamrock piece. I'm telling you, I wish you could really see what this embossing is like. I'm amazed by it. I love it. This next piece, you could add it with adhesive, or if you wanted to do dimensionals, you could do that. I'm just going to keep it flat for now. Again, I hold opposite corners, hover over the area I want, and my hand, one hand is down here and the other hand is over here, so I'm just moving my fingers. It helps me to get a better grip and a better position for my item that I'm putting on my card. This is the cookie jar, and the cookie jar, the same thing. You could make it flat, or you could put dimensionals on the back, and I think what I'll do is I'll put a few dimensionals on the back. And before I add this, though, I want to add my lid, and I like to use this type of glue. It's a Zig 2-way pen. Now we don't sell it at Stampin' Up, but The adhesive that we sell is much wider than I need here, and so I use that. You could use liquid glue. I get that all over if I have a small area like this to do. All right, we have that put together. We're going to take the backing off. And again, when I'm adding something, I like to hold it up so I can get a good view of where it's going to end up. Okay. Now, let's bring this back in. This is going to end up being like this. So we have just closed the card. And this piece is going to go on top of this one. Again, I want to open it up to make it easier. I'm going to take this piece, which you can see is right here, and I'm going to line the pink cardstock with the edge of this pink cardstock. So we're going to match them. All right, so the bottom of this and the bottom of the card base. So I have adhesive here at the bottom, and I'm going to decide which side do I want this on. I think I want it on this side so I can see the purple. So I'm going to, like I did with the other card, move it over a little bit so that I can see a little bit of the paper there, and I'm going to push down. All right. Now I'm going to fold my card back up, and then I'm going to close it. And now I have this part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to turn my card over. I'm going to fold it down. Let me show you from the front. Right behind this green is a fold, and I'm going to fold on that line and push that down. So now you have, between the two of them, you have a hinge. That means your card will stand up and it will lay flat. And there you have it. That's our step card for today. I hope you liked it. Hope you give it a try. And thanks for watching.